I guess I could make a deal or no deal joke here, but I probably couldn't make it funny. So here are our 3 starters for this generation. We have Chimchar, the Chim Pokemon. We have Piplup, the Penguin Pokemon. And finally, my personal choice, Tiny Leaf Pokemon Turtwig. So Barry is obviously going to pick Chimchar, since it's tradition for your rival to pick the one that's strong against you. Though in Black and White you have 2 rivals, one that picks the strong one and the other that picks the weak one. So yeah, all traditions are meant to be broken someday, I guess. So yeah, if you have any trouble, come see me at my lab in Sanjin Town. Well, we're going to be heading there quite shortly. And now they're on their way. Wait for me, please! Yeah. What? Please let me pass? Are you kidding me? We weren't even in her way! What is she, like 400 pounds or something? Well, definitely not, because if you've seen her artwork, you'll know she's very, very thin, to the point where it might even be a problem. Remember all those anorexia jokes when Dawn was first revealed? Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. And Barry's really super excited here because the time has finally come to have our very first Pokemon battle. For the 4th time! Well, actually, this Level 5 versus Level 5 format was only reproduced in Red, Blue, and Yellow, and the Fire and Leaf Green, and probably Black and White as well, not sure on that. But anyway, we are going to be spamming Tackle in this fight, as usual. Even though some people might want to use Withdraw, I don't. Just want to keep on the offense because, really, it's not so difficult. You're only really in danger if you get an unlucky miss with Tackle. Chimchar doesn't have that problem with Scratch, which is more powerful even. But I'm still way ahead there. Going to be using Leer again, which basically amounts to a free turn, even if I'm going to take a bit more damage afterwards. And I think I got it. Unless Tackle misses, I think I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. Please, please. Yeah, I got it! His Fire Monkey's dead! Somebody save his Fire Monkey! Is there a Pokemon Voodoo Priest anywhere here? Please, his Fire Monkey's dead! Okay, if you've been with me for a long time, then you definitely know what this is referring to. And if not, well, I don't remember the number of the part, but it was at one point when I was exploring Goldenrod and Crystal. And yeah, our Pokemon are both going to get some rest. We're both going home, and even though we're not hearing the little dee-dee-dee-dee-dee jingle, we're still fully healed after this fight. And now I'm going to get to explain everything with just 3 little dots. Wonderful. Ah, the wonders of mute video game characters. Usually, the less you say, the more things are put in your mouth, but usually this only applies if your name is Chrono. Well, it doesn't only apply if you're Chrono, but it tends to happen a lot in RPGs. Oh, and we got our running shoes! So now we won't be stuck walking at the speed of Crawl. Now we can go as fast as Barry does. Well, almost, because this kid goes fast. If I want to beat Barry in a foot race, I'm probably going to need a bicycle, at which point it's probably not a foot race anymore. Now give me a second, I'm just going to check my Turtwig's nature, and it is Impish! Wow! Well, I drew a great nature again, boosts defense, lowers special attack. This is one of my favorites for this guy here. I would have taken pretty much anything, though, but something that lowers special attack, well, this probably means I'm not going to be using Giga Drain, but Leech Seed is a pretty good alternative nonetheless. So now we're going to go to Lake Verity. They say a legendary Pokemon lives there. This is Mesprit he's referring to. We're not going to be referring to it by name as early as that in the game, but its name is Mesprit. Just in case for some reason you have trouble distinguishing between the Pixie trio, Mesprit is the red one. Lake Verity ahead. Well, thank you. This lake is home to the Pokemon said to be the being of emotion. Yeah, each of the pixies represents something. Yuxi is the being of knowledge, and Azelf is the being of willpower. And, yeah, we're at the lake. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. Well, it doesn't really show here. We're surrounded by trees, but if we go one step up straight into the tree, we're going to end up at Lake Verity. So... oh, yeah, I remember this. This wasn't here in Diamond and Pearl. This guy here is Cyrus. He's going to be our villain for this game, as if his speech didn't clue you in. Oh, time and space will be all mine! Yeah. And this isn't an empty threat he made to Mesprit, because Mesprit is an essential part of his master plan. And yeah, in Diamond and Pearl you come here a lot earlier than that, because Rowan lost his briefcase here. And okay, let's catch that legendary Pokemon. Oh! We just heard Mesprit's cry. Maybe my voice completely buried it for you, but I'm pretty sure I heard Mesprit's cry. So, yeah, actually, he tends to get really overexcited about everything, but on this one, it's right. It's really Mesprit's cry and not, say, Starly. We don't have anything on us. Well, we don't have any Pokeballs, of course, because we live in some podunk town where there are no vendors or Pokemon centers. And instead of buying some balls himself, he wants to ask Professor Rowan for some. Yeah, real sense of responsibility here. Actually, I think in this game you start with the usual $3,000, so you can buy early potions and Pokeballs and stuff, and nope, there doesn't appear to be anything of note here. That empty patch was where Cyrus was before, and it was also where Rowan's briefcase was in Diamond and Pearl. So now this is Route 201, and now that we have our very own Turtwig, Starlies and Bidoof won't be such threats anymore. Well, Starlies are going to be threats to Turtwig, but only from level 9 onwards, because they learn Wing Attack at level 9. And yes, they learn a stab move with 60 power at level 9. So, Wild Starlies past that point can be somewhat dangerous. And obviously the NPCs are going to be telling us that the exact same thing as in the beginning of every other Pokemon game, just in case, you know, this is your first Pokemon game and they want to ease you into the game. Oh! We got someone who works at a Pokemon Mart, and I think this is a throwback to Red, Blue, and Yellow, where on the first route you encounter someone who works at a Pokemon Mart and he gives you a potion, and that seems to be it. Yep! It's a throwback to Red, Blue, and Yellow, alright. And yeah, so of course, since there was no potion in my PC, then oh, we got our first random encounter here. But yeah, there was no potion in the PC since the PC can't contain items anymore. This all fits in the Palkia brand bag. So, obviously, these wild Pokemon are no threat at all, much less threatening than that level 5 Chimchar from earlier, though you gotta be wary of Starly and Bidoof because their moves are stab. Yes, of course, Starly isn't pure flying, though there does exist a pure flying now, namely Torunerosu, except for the fact that it doesn't even learn Roost, so there is still no way to legitimately obtain a Pokemon with the triple question mark type, which is what happens when you use Roost on a pure flying. Yeah, I've had that question asked to me a few times, so that's what happens when you use Roost on a pure flying type. It becomes a triple question mark type, which has no weaknesses, no resistances, and no immunities. Everything hits it for neutral. So it appears Don was waiting for us. Oh! That again! Well, once again, he's in a hurry, but what else is new? He's not scary so much as he is totally out there. Okay, so I think you just got turned down in your request for Pokeballs, right? Right? Yeah, still doesn't have any Pokeballs, it seems. Sure seems to be really impatient. Well, you're being quite nice because, seriously, I don't think it's just being impatient as much as it is being on a diet with nothing but sugar, and possibly Red Bull as well. And he wants to see our Turtwig, seems to be rather happy. Well, of course, I'm such an awesome trainer! Okay, yeah, interesting with that Turtwig was no mistake. Well, duh, no thanks, I wouldn't like to give it a nickname. As usual, I don't give nicknames to my Pokemon because I just don't like the idea, and it sends down the trade value greatly if you ever want to trade it. And what's so astounding now? There's a bond growing between you and that Pokemon. Well, duh! It's not like it's very hard to get a Pokemon's happiness up at that stage. I mean, level 2 Starlies and Bidoofs, that's not exactly going to faint anything. So glad that you're kind towards Pokemon, where if you weren't, I'd have to. I just can't say it. Well, that was entirely pointless. So, okay, let's move on to the main topic, which is no doubt the Pokédex. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I know, you're Rowan, you're the Pokemon professor. You already did that in the intro. You don't need to say a word. I know who you are. You're freaking famous. And, okay, so yeah, that's the Pokédex that he's gonna give to me. And it seems that not only did Barry not get his Pokeballs, but it seems like he didn't get a Pokédex either. Wonderful. So, we've already got a head start on him, even though he's probably already up to Jubilife. And by the way, while both Rowan and I are blabbering, I just want to remind you, no, I don't have a lisp, it's just that this microphone seems to have some difficulty recording my S's properly. I already covered it in a previous video of mine, but I apologize if I'm sounding like I'm missing a few teeth, but I'm really not. It's not how I'm really pronouncing S's, it's just the fault of that new microphone of mine. And when Rowan says he wants us to fill up every last page of that Sinnoh Dex of ours, he really means it, because he's not going to cough up the National Dex until we've met all 210 Pokemon in there. Of course, that means there are a few problems, such as a Dialga, Palkia, and Manaphy, which you have to add to your Pokedex in a different way. And, no, if I chose Piplup on Route 201, you'd have a Chimchar, so things don't really work like that. And I also helped the professor add pages to the Pokedex, but our Pokedexes are mutually exclusive, so even though you already have the page on Piplup, for instance, the professor isn't going to acknowledge it until I have the page on Piplup, too, for some reason. Yeah, I never said those games made sense. Nintendo logic. And then there doesn't seem to be anything over there, but the computer is filled with special terms and academic writing that is impossible to figure out. Well, of course, it's the laboratory of a renowned Pokemon professor. Nope, no detail here, unlike the kitchen back at home. Reference material and research reports on Pokemon. I really wonder what kind of scientific facts you'd find about Pokemon, like, for example, how they can summon thunderbolts and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd really like to know the science behind that. Seriously, there's some stuff in there that, as I said at some point in Emerald, even Star Trek couldn't technobabble their way out of. Oh wait, are you telling me that this unimportant NPC has a name? Well, this rarely happens in RPGs. Whenever a character has a name, usually they're important. And what does he want now? Something good? Well, I hope it's good. And it's TM27, which is Return, one of the best normal type moves when it's fully powered, but at this stage in the game, it would probably have something like 25 power on my Turtwig, or maybe closer to 30, but it's not even as strong as Tackle at this point in the game, so it sort of makes sense for it to be the first TM I get. That, and it's a normal move, so it's pretty much automatically useless. And speaking of which, they removed the defense-having subroutine for Explosion and Self-Destruct in Generation 5, probably to balance doubles and triples. But, okay, back to the game. I think she's going to show me around the city of Sandgem, if I remember properly. Oh yeah! Next time in Platinum, we're going to visit the rest of Sandgem Town. Be there when it happens.